Good morning, everyone. My name is Kate Kaltoff. Welcome. We are going to have a fun little tutorial today on how to make this pretty card using the Dragonfly bundle from Stampin' Up. And in just a second here, I'm going to flip the camera down and we're going to go ahead and get started. This is a really easy, elegant card. And I just want to thank you in advance so much for sharing my videos, whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook. I truly appreciate it. You guys are the best, and you really kind of make my world go around. I really look forward to doing these videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Truly highlights of my week, so thank you for being here. So let me flip the camera down and we'll go ahead and get started making this really pretty card. The most important thing to recreate this card is you will want to get the Dragonfly Garden bundle. You can find it in our January through June mini Stampin' Up! Catalog. And that catalog is actually ending very soon. I believe June 30th is the last day to purchase a lot of those items. Quite a few of them are retiring. The Dragonfly Garden is carrying on, and I can't remember off the top of my head if the bundle is staying or the bundle is going. Sometimes they break up the bundle. So you might want to check that if you have a regular annual catalog to see if that bundle is being broken up. But that's the most important thing to have to create this card, because the punch makes the cutest punch outs. Then we're going to be using a tailored tag punch a little bit differently in that, look, the tailored tag punch can not only be used this way on a card, but it can also be used this way, which is super awesome. So we're going to make a tailored tag punch this way, and then there's room for a cute little dragonfly punch out, which I love. So I will move that out of the way. We're going to use Stays On Black ink. Now you could really use any kind of ink that you want, but I chose Stays On for this particular project. And we are using metallic gold and rose gold paper from Stampin' Up. This is really fun paper, so we're going to be using that because we want our dragonfly to be super sparkly, and he will be. We're using the new 3D embossing folder called Bark. So I'll hold this card up really close. Can you see the nice texture on that soft suede layer? Oh, it's just wonderful. So if you're kind of an outdoorsy person, or you know a lot of people who are outdoorsy, this is a great embossing folder to have. And we have the Dandy Garden 6x6 Designer Series paper. Now I know for a fact this will be going away, and it coordinates so beautifully with the bundle. So for sure get that before you can no longer get it, or you will be a little sad because there's so many good things you can do with it. And we are going to use some gingham ribbon. This is the Bumblebee gingham ribbon, and that did stay in the catalog. And then here's our pretty color wheel. Let me bring it up for you to see. Isn't it pretty? Oh my gosh, I just love the colors in here. So warm and earthy. We've got Misty Moonlight and the, oh my gosh, I want to say Mellow Moss, but it's probably not. Let me just double check. Mossy Meadow. You can tell you've been at Stampin' Up! A long time when you go to colors that were like from 20 years ago. But yes, Mossy Meadow. And then this is very vanilla, and this is soft suede, and then we have Bumblebee. So these three colors are considered neutrals in Stampin' Up! And then these two colors are in colors from 2022. So they'll be available for one more year. All right, let's go ahead, and you'll notice how I positioned the tag on this card. One is up and one is down, and it's totally the way I cut the Designer Series paper. I wanted to make sure I didn't cover up this pretty flower. So this is another cool thing that you can do with a layout like this, is move your tag up and down depending on how it looks best with whatever Designer Series paper you're using in the background. Such an easy, elegant card. You can really, truly remake this with a lot of different patterns, and then just adjust your your little punch out with your sentiment. All right, so let's do the first thing first, which is to set up our card base and our inside panel. I have Misty Moonlight right here, and I am going to just put a crease in the back of all of these so that it lies flat a little better for us. And then the next thing we have is some very vanilla panels. These are 4 by 5 1/4. Did I mention 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4? It's basically an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper cut in half and folded in half. And then here's our inside panels. Again, very vanilla, 4 by 5 1/4. And the next thing we have is I have some coordinating designer series paper. It's not the exact same as the outside, but as you can see, there's a lot of different pretty papers in that Dandy Garden designer series paper pack. So we can coordinate with something a little bit different on the outside and have it still look great. So those were 3/4 inches by 4 inches, and that's going to be down here. And then we're also going to stamp a sentiment in the inside. So I've got the jet black stays on, and I'm going to put "You Are an Inspiration." So we're going to stamp that right there and right there. And then we can go ahead and put our bottom piece on. So I'm going to move that out of the way, and we're just going to take some multi-purpose liquid glue at the bottom. And then I can go ahead, set this in, and we can wiggle it into place so it's perfect. And there it is, looking so good. Almost good. There, I think that's great. Okie doke. Next thing that we're going to do is flip this over, and we're going to put some Stampin' Seal on the back, and we just need it at the top. We're going to keep this nice and loose and flowing. And we're going to set these inside panels into our cards, and then we can move on to our outside panel. So let me go ahead and position this one. There we go. So we have our inside panels done. I'm going to set that aside for a second, and let's talk about our outside panels. So first of all, I took some soft suede cardstock, cut 4 by 5 1/4, and I ran it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, as I mentioned, with the Bark 3D embossing folder. So it puts a beautiful kind of grained background that just looks absolutely gorgeous. And the next thing I did is I took a piece of the Dandy Garden designer series paper and I cut it in half. So basically cut it right down the center because it's 6 by 6 paper. So I cut it in half. So that was 3 inches down. And then I trimmed the bottom 3/4 of an inch. So I get 2 pieces of paper out of 1 piece of paper, and it's 3 by 5 1/4. And that's what we're going to put on the front of our card. So I'm going to do that with some multi-purpose liquid glue once more, so we can just wiggle that into place. And I'm just going to do this on both sides. And then you're going to set this in on the right-hand side of that paper. And I like to make sure it's nice and even. Now there's a little bit sticking out down here, and I can trim that off with a paper snips because I don't want an uneven look at the bottom. And the reason that happens, even though I'm pretty confident of my cutting skills, is because when you run paper through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine with a 3D die, you can get some shrinkage. And so it does appear that we did get a little bit of shrinkage here. So I will fix that very easily, and you can fix it easily too if this ever happens to you. Just take paper snips, and I just carefully trim right along that bottom edge and then cut that little excess off. So it's pretty easy to do. Oh, this one is pretty tight. but we're going to do it anyway because we want these to be perfect. There we go. So you can see we just get, that's how much, I don't even know if you can see this. I'll try to open it up here so you can see both of them. That's how much shrinkage you get on the embossing folder right there. All right, so I will set aside my perfectionistic tendencies for just a second, and we are going to grab the ribbon because we want to wrap our ribbon before we glue this down onto the front of our card. So I have a designated ribbon scissors, and now we can go ahead and we can attach this ribbon to the front of the card, and I just put it pretty much right through the middle of where those two papers come together. And to do that, I grab my trusty Scotch tape and do a little wrap. Now I know there's quite a few people that also use Stampin' Seal on the back, and then they just fold over that ribbon and it attaches to the Stampin' Seal and stays really well for them. But I have been doing it this way for so long that I really prefer this because I don't know, I just don't want my ribbon to accidentally come out, and I don't think it will if I have it attached with Scotch tape. So there we go, we have it good. And now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put these right onto the front panels of our cards. So we're going to do that with glue so we can get a good wiggle going. So I'm just going to add some glue to the front all the way around, and then we can wiggle it right into place so everything's nice and even. So take this, set it in. I will pick it up so I can scooch, 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 and there, it's all scooched into place and looking perfect. Do the same thing over here. Scooch it in. I had to take a peek. Have any of you ever put your front on your card and then discovered you had it upside down and it was like this? Oh my gosh, I have so done that. All right, so there we go. We have the base of the front of our card and the inside panel is pretty much done. All we have to do is add the tag. So let's do that next. So we have a scrap of Bumblebee right here, Bumblebee cardstock. And I have my sentiment that says, "For a true friend." I'm going to stamp it here. Then I can take my what is this called again? My tailored tag punch. I can set it right there and I can punch it out really, really nicely. And I want to also be sure to leave room up at the top for my dragonfly. So that looks pretty good. So you can do it that way, or you can just cut a punch out if you don't like messing with those punches in that particular way. And the way Stampin' Up! Does labels now, it's really easy to get an accurate look at where your label is. So I can just go like this. And we get a really nice straight look on our front label. So either way, most of the time I prefer to stamp and then punch, but I know not everybody can manage punches as well as I can, so I always like to give you different options. The next thing we have to have is a piece of scrap gold metallic paper. I've got it right here. And I'm going to take that dragonfly punch and once again, going to run it in. We're going to do a punch for one little dragonfly and a punch out for another little dragonfly. And those will go on with glue dots. So I'm going to grab my roll of glue dots. I love putting punch outs on glue dots. I think it's just super fun. I love it when I have a whole stack of punch outs, like when I'm doing swaps for my downline and I can just put them all on the roll of ribbon, and then it's just so fun to see them all on there. Then I'm going to take my take your pick tool to grab them off the glue dot. Whoops, it wants to fly away. There we go. Then you can just set it right there, right where you want it. And here's the second one. Beautiful. Then we're going to go ahead, flip these over and add some dimensionals. So I am going to put dimensionals on either side. And then, you know, why not? Why not just go crazy with the dimensionals and put them all over the place? Then we'll get a nice, really, really sturdy tag on our card. One more for good measure. There we go. All right, now we're going to bring our card in, and now we have to decide where those punch outs go. So this flower is pretty tall. So if I put it, you know, I could really put it anywhere. This flower, if I put the punch high, it's going to cover up this flower. So I don't want that. So I'm going to keep the punch low. And we'll set it right here. And look how nicely that shows off the flowers. Then for this one, I'm going to go ahead and put it a little higher because it doesn't really cover anything up at this layer, at this level. So we're going to add it right here. And that's where I'm choosing to put that punch out. It's so pretty. All right, let me see. I feel like there's, well, oh, here we go. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to put all the cards out that I've created here. It's so fun to see them all lined up together. And I just want you to know that I also will often put my Facebook Live replays onto my blog. And if you ever want to check out my blog, you can do that by going to www.stampingtoshare.com. And there we go. It's so much fun to be here. And next week, just to give you a heads up, I will be here on Tuesday, but I will not be here on Thursday. I am going ziplining with my girlfriends from high school. So we're going to do like a 2-hour ziplining tour of the Minnesota River Valley. So I'm super excited about it. And that's what I will be doing a week from today. So a week from today at this time, I'll be flying through the trees of the Minnesota River Valley. Super excited about it. You guys have a great day and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.